Hello, for our book club reading, we will be presenting the book Teams at Work, The Seven Drivers of Team Effectiveness. My team members are Robert, Mary, Daniel, Zoey, and I am Chrys. Next slide, please. Teams at Work, The Seven Drivers of Team Effectiveness was written by Scott Tannenbaum and Eduardo Saleh. The book provides an in-depth look into the drivers of team effectiveness. It presents research, completed meta-analysis to support such drivers, and ends by providing valuable insight and recommendations on how to manage, promote, and create efficient and effective teams in your organization. We have highlighted the following 5 takeaways in the coming slides and believe these would be of use and beneficial to all listeners in their coming careers. The 7 drivers of teamwork, communication and coaching, psychological safety, coordination, and leadership. Each chapter examines a driver in light of the available information and explains it in real life examples drawn from the author's extensive expertise in a variety of organizational settings. The tables and figures throughout the books are essential points and takeaways, and they are summarized. Throughout the book, there are suggestions and consequences for team leaders. The thinking experiments, which provides an important element of reflective learning while reading a book, are particularly valuable to us as a team. Next slide. So the 7 drivers of teamwork: capabilities, cooperation, coordination, communication, cognition, conditions, and coaching are the 7 drivers that we're going to be addressing. It's possible to teach teamwork, but it will not compensate for the lack of ability. Your thoughts and feelings regarding your team have an impact on your teamwork's cooperation. Effective teams needs to be important. They need to have corroboration, and the behaviors need to be collaborated. Through shared cognitions, your team can adjust to disruptions and sustain constant performance. Next slide, please. Why would you choose Teams at Work? This book teaches the basics of teamwork. Teamwork helps solve problems. Teamwork is important to the success of all businesses. And to have a meaningful and lifelong career, you need to work well with others, which is why teamwork is important in the professional world. Moving on to the next slide for Zoey.
So we always know that communications is the key in the business success. And then from this book, I have learned that communications quality is far more important than communication quantity. A high quality communications would include the following factors. First of all, unit information. Second, closed loop communications. Third, the convey, and finally, the battery spinning. By applying these factors, you can definitely improve your daily communications. Another point that I learned from this book is that effective team leadership is all about, first, to ensure that the team has a favorable drivers it needs, and second, to enable the team to learn and adapt more. So leadership can affect the team both positively and negatively. So if you would like to learn more about these, you can definitely look into the book.
All right, so one key takeaway that I took was how important psychological safety is for a team. Now, in order for a team to promote psychological safety, it must start with developing leaders, which will ultimately permeate throughout the organization. Now, this leads to many benefits, and the first of them being high team performance. This means that the team feels comfortable being themselves, they can disagree with one another, and have conversations with each other. The second benefit is that the team can help senior leaders offer their points of view by providing feedback and sharing their expertise to help solve problems. just because sometimes team members can offer new and unique ideas that wouldn't have been discovered by the team leader alone. Another benefit is that it increases a team's overall success if done consistently. And finally, it's a key form of cooperation where team members can openly share their perspectives. And now I'm going to pass it over to Rob, where he'll share his takeaway.
Thank you, Mary. I will be going now into the positive impacts of team coordination. Research shows teams with better coordination demonstrate consistently higher level of performance and were more satisfied and cohesive. I will be now going into the 4 forms of coordination used in successful teams. First up is monitoring or maintaining situational awareness. This is remaining cognizant and aware of what is going on within and outside the team that might affect their team success. Next up is providing backup or support. Providing advice, support, or filling in for a team member when needed is always needed and definitely will help out team coordination. Third up is adapting. The need for adapting is very evident, and learning from experience and making adjustments to address needs and improve in the performance in the future is definitely needed. Last up is managing team emotion and conflicts. Dealing with conflicting points of view, managing team members' emotions, and taking actions that maintain morale are definitely a few things that would roll up in that category. Lastly, effective teams monitor one another, team performance, and conditions. Next slide. So you may be wondering, what tips can I use to improve coordination in my current team? Well, I will be going over the 4 shown below tips here, and I believe all of these tips here can be used currently and going forward to help improve coordination amongst your team. So the first tip I will be talking about here is allocating time for scanning and pulse checking. Successful teams monitor each other and remain cognizant and aware of what is going on both internally and externally. Second up is clarifying situations when you expect team members to back up one another. Having a well-maintained team charter will ensure there are no gaps in any workflows and allow for support to be given in the event of a team member being absent. Next, conducting periodic team debriefs to learn, understand, and adapt for future goals and ambitions. Learning from experience is critical to being able to make adjustments and improve performance. Lastly, feeling safe matters, and it is important to take time to conduct regular team assessments and provide a safe environment for disagreements. Lastly, I would just like to briefly describe the picture shown to the left. To give a brief explanation, coordination is the link between all team performance, and you are only as strong as your weakest link. I'll be now passing it off to Daniel.
Thanks, Rob. So the last point I'll be making from the book is about team leaders themselves. The team leader functions as the moderator, motivator, and directs the scope of work of all individuals in the group. So as MBA students, we're aspiring for future management positions. So effective team leader skills lead to an effective team. So the book goes into 10 tips. I picked the top 3 that resounded well with me. The first is ensure that the team has the talent it needs. So we need to recognize that each individual has a unique background and unique experience that can be beneficial for the team with respect to each individual. The next is act in a manner that consistently promotes a sense of psychological safety in your team. This point has been touched in previous slides by my team members, but we need to make sure that each person has an equal voice and can be heard. The next is monitor and boost the quality of communication within your team. So effective communication within a team leads to an effective team. The next point that the book goes into is you must facilitate, they call it the 6 C's. That's cooperation, coordination, communication, cognition, coaching, and capabilities. Next slide. So as a wrap up through all the slides, positive team coordination is greatly needed for a team's environment. Once implemented, wealth of advantages will be evident. Team communication goals, we picked 3. Ensuring everyone is comfortable speaking up. Again, with this psychological safety, communication is understood, unique information and expertise is shared. Everybody has their background and they have a voice. Psychological safety, yet again, leads to a higher team performance and success since it creates a comfortable environment for team members to share their own perspectives. Lastly, team leaders play a pivotal role in development of a successful team. We all need to find our unique leadership technique and something that works for you. All right, this is a wrap up. Do we have any questions?